As we explained in our previous talks, Elisha had been a disciple, had been a student of his rabbi, Eliyahu the prophet. Eliyahu the prophet was known as Eliyahu Tishbi from the settlement of Teshub, or Eliyahu the Gilead, or Eliyahu a Gileadi, Eliyahu a Gileadite from Gilead. Gilead was east of the Jordan in the north. It was in the area of the half tribe of Manasseh, east of the Jordan. Eliyahu, it was in the territory of Manasseh, but Eliyahu himself was a Kohen, that is a priest from a priestly family belonging to the tribe of Levi. Elisha was a student, the follower of Eliyahu, and he succeeded Eliyahu when Eliyahu went up to heaven in a fiery chariot, in a chariot of fire. Elisha was from Eben Mahol, near Beth-Shan, near the present-day city of Beth-Shan. The present-day city of Beth-Shan is also in the area of Manasseh, but Eben Mahol, where Elisha came from, was in the territory of Issachar, of the tribe of Issachar, and Elisha himself belonged to the tribe of Issachar. After the previous events that we described concerning Elisha's early life, he settled. Elisha sojourned with a group of people we were mentioned, known as the sons of the prophets. The sons of the prophets were students, followers of Elisha, often previously also having been followers of Elijah. The sons of the prophets learned prophecy. They learned from the prophets, and they lived in a kind of communal settlement. They would move around from place to place according to the situation. And Elisha sojourned with them. First, they were in Bethel in the territory of Benjamin. That is the territory of Benjamin that belonged to the kingdom of Judah, but on the border with Ephraim. Remember, there were two sections of Israel at that time. The kingdom of Israel had divided into two portions. The northern kingdom of Israel, headed by Ephraim, and the southern kingdom of Judah. Judah comprised the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and represented minorities. So are the other tribes, whereas the northern kingdom of Israel comprised the rest of the tribes, the rest of the Israelites, and they were independent from each other. So Bethel was in the territory of Benjamin, near the border with Ephraim. It also seems that there may have been two settlements of Bethel, one pertaining to Benjamin, the other pertaining to Ephraim. And even now in that area, you have two settlements, Bethel A and Bethel B. I lived in Bethel for a while. It's quite a nice area. It's also a spiritual area and a pleasant region, a beautiful region. The people there are also civil and educated, and possible to get along with. They are quality people. And and that is, and it could be that the region itself is conducive to producing such types. So Elisha, with the sons of the prophets, was in that region, and then they decided to move more to the east, closer to the Jordan River, which isn't that far away. And when they came to an area, they decided to construct a dwelling place, to construct dwellings, places for use of the community, and they were doing this just beside the river Jordan, and an axe head fell into the water. And at that time, axe heads were often made of iron, because iron is a superior cutting tool, or makes for a superior cutting tools. But iron was rare, was difficult to work with until they improved the process, and it was relatively new in the region, and it was expensive. And this implement that had fell into the water had been borrowed from someone else, and therefore the person who had borrowed it would have to pay for it, and it was quite expensive. So Elisha was called upon. He asked to be shown where in the water the axe head had fallen, and then he cut a piece of stick and threw it in the water, and the axe head came floating to the surface. 2 Kings 6:7. Elisha too was an advisor to the king of Israel, of the 10 tribes north of Judah. Israel at that time was at war with Aram. Aram is otherwise known as Syria, but it's not connected to Assyria. People tend to confuse between Syria and Assyria. Aram, also known as Syria, was in the region of Syria of today, also reaching into Turkey, whereas Assyria was more to the east in an area pertaining to northern Iraq. So it's at all events, the king of Aram was antagonistic to Israel. He was warring against Israel. Was hostile to the existence of Israel. And every now and again he would plan attacks and raids against Israel, the northern Israelites. And Elisha would warn him, would warn the king of Israel that an attack was coming, to prepare themselves, to arrange to meet it, to avoid it, to intercept it. And the king of Aram was noticed that every time he wanted to do something against Israel, he was being forestalled, as if the Israelites knew what he was doing, and he thought there must be a spy, a traitor amongst his entourage. They told him no. They told him the Elisha the prophet, who is in Israel, Elisha the prophet who is in Israel, he tells the king of Israel what you speak in your bedroom, even private things between you and your wife, between you and yourself. Elisha knows him and tells him to the king of Israel. So the king of Aram decided to capture Elisha. The Arameans received information that the prophet Elisha was at that time in Dothan, which is to the north of Shechem, the northern region of Samaria, to the north of Shechem, to the northern region of Samaria. It's now an army base, an important army base in that region, and a base of the IDF. So the king of Aram sent a great army at night with horses and chariots to surround Dothan. And Elisha indeed was in the city together with his attendants. Together with his attendant, in the morning the attendant rose. He saw the army surrounding the city. He was horrified. He appealed to Elisha, who told him to remain calm. Elisha informed him that there were greater forces with them than with the enemy. Elisha then prayed that the eyes of his servant be opened, and that he see what God had sent to protect them. The servant then saw an army of horses and chariots of flame all around. Elisha asked that the Arameans be stricken blind, and they were. And then these Aramean soldiers, a great force of Aramean soldiers, suddenly stricken blind and not able to see, were led in the city of Samaria. And then they were led into the city of Samaria. Samaria was the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel, and it was not that far away. But still, it was quite a walk, but they were taken there, together with their chariots and everything else. And they were captives, and their eyes were open. They were given food and drink and replenishment and sent away unharmed.